Good morning, Year 6, Darwin, Shackleton and Batuta. It is me, Mr. L, E, W to the IS, around the corona. Okay, got another exciting lesson for you today. It is on parenthesis. You lot should be aware of what parenthesis is and how to use it. Give you a little taster. It gives you extra information and detail to a sentence, making it less boring and more exciting. So I would like to see some exciting sentences in your final task. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you're all well. Peace and love. Looking forward to seeing the work you bring in.
Okay, the topic is journalistic writing, and the LI is to understand how to use parentheses correctly. Let's begin. A dictionary definition. A parenthetical phrase exists in addition to the main clause. It could be an afterthought, an aside, an explanatory statement, or a qualifying one. You could remove the parenthesis without impacting on meaning. However, removing the punctuation around it, sometimes also referred to as parenthesis, would make the sentence a wordy jumble. What, for instance, is the effect of removing brackets and commas from the text? Parenthesis marks typically come in pairs, plural parenthesis. Subordinate clauses, such as the one here, are commonly marked off by commas. Parenthetical phrases, what is the difference between a subordinate clause and a parenthetical clause, can also be marked by brackets. Brackets which are a bit like supersized commas, like really big chicken nuggets, form a definitive barrier, whereas dashes are more fluid and informal. A more relatable definition. Parentheses are punctuation marks that set off material that has been included in a sentence but that doesn't fit with the flow of the sentence. The information put in brackets to add extra detail can't work on its own. It needs the complete sentence to be wrapped around it, beneath it, or in front of it. Sort of like a bubble wrap for it to make complete sense. Or a cake with an extra jam filling. The jam filling on its own wouldn't taste nice, but squeeze it in between two layers of sponge and cream and it finds its place, its sweet, delicious place. Example. Occasionally people, including good friends, make mistakes. So you could take out the including good friends and it still makes sense. Put it in there as extra detailed information, just makes it more entertaining. Without it, it's a bit boring and bland. We don't like boring and bland. When and where. You could use it to set off dates. For instance, Philadelphia's yellow fever epidemic, 1793, killed a record number of people. Clarification of information. In the north, people often eat popovers, a light hollow bread roll for breakfast. Define abbreviation. I'm considering applying to USC, University of South Carolina. To cite a source in an assignment or in a university course, which you will do eventually. Matty endured a week of unceasing heat. Anderson 34. How to use parentheses. If the parenthesis interrupts the sentence, don't capitalize anything inside of them. Example, Muhammad Ali, arguably the greatest boxer of all time, claimed he would float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. That's a classic quote, and he did. Don't use any end punctuation within the parenthesis unless it makes sense to add a question mark. This is very important. Don't grammatize it. Always grammatize it out of it. 35 years after his death, Robert Frost, do you remember him? Question mark, you see, remains America's favorite poet. So that is okay because you're asking a question in the brackets. You may use both capitalization and punctuation if the information is a completely separate sentence. In the Victorian era, ladies were not allowed to show their ankles. Now such a rule seems silly. I lost my phone at Samsung S9 yesterday during football training. Winston Churchill, a British Prime Minister, was born in Blenheim Palace. Okay? These are all without the brackets, the parenthesis. Here's how it should be written. I lost my phone at Samsung S9 yesterday during football training. Winston Churchill, a British Prime Minister, was born in Blenheim Palace. So you can see by adding the brackets, it sort of isolates the extra information that isn't needed, but it is accepted and warranted. Preliminary task. For your first task, you must write these sentences and decide which ones use parentheses correctly. Don't worry if you get it wrong, this is just for practice. Correct or incorrect? Jamie, who is my brother, is always irritating me. So you got tick if that's correct parenthesis or not. After I wake up, I have breakfast. My holiday, I'm going to Turkey, begins in 10 days. Psychoroulette's Marcellus, more commonly known as blobfish, was voted the ugliest animal. Wow. Lizzie, who is my sister, is always hassling me. So you got tick or X, which sentence uses parentheses correctly. Task 2. Write these sentences in your book and decide where's the correct position for parenthesis. You got to identify where the partner should go. When we met to the theme park, which was the best day ever, we went on the world's fastest roller coaster. Kai's dog, whose name was Pip, enjoyed chasing squirrels. The garden, which was full of nettles, weeds and creepy crawlies, was still a fun place to play. Amani was declared the winner. She got 12 points. Viz scored 9 and Amanda, who had never played before, only got 2. Mark, my best friend, and Samantha, my sister, do not get on. Okay, so you've got to put where you think the parenthesis should go. Task 3. Application of knowledge. Now this one here I'm not going to read out, but I would like you to correctly put punctuation and parenthesis in the correct places. There are 10 pieces of punctuation you could put in total. So this should be a nice task that brings in all the grammar and all the techniques we've learnt into one task. So you've got properly punctuate and use parenthesis to make the paragraph make sense. Parenthesis. Uses parenthesis to set off material that is loosely related to the rest of the sentence. Example. Each 6-dot cell stands for a character, a letter of the alphabet, a number, a punctuation mark, or a contraction. Students should not pack liquids in their carry-on bags. Water, shampoo, makeup remover. Okay, these are good examples of using extra information correctly. Examples of different types. Mrs. Brown, the caretaker, shouted. Mrs. Brown, the caretaker, shouted. Mr. Brown, the caretaker, shouted. So these are all acceptable forms of parentheses. You can use commas, you can use brackets, and you can use dashes. But ideally, most commonly used is brackets. So please stick to using brackets. This is easy to use and easy to manage. Now you can mark your work correctly. The answers are in 3 boxes, as you can see. So you tick or give a cross if you got it correct. Check if you put the parentheses in the right place. And check if you punctuate the paragraphs correctly with the 10 pieces of required punctuation. If you have, give it a tick and give it a mark. You try. Create some of your own paragraphs using parentheses. Remember, parentheses is extra information that doesn't make sense on its own. Be as creative as you possibly can be. Use that expansive imagination to either inform or entertain. Don't forget, the purpose of this is to either inform, give information, or entertain the masses. Perform. Wow them. Astound them. But don't go too cray-cray. There's a line and a limit that you should all be familiar with. Do not cross it. Submit your work to the Year 6 email and take pictures of it. The best examples will be included in Miss Begum's shout-out video. There'll be certificates, rubies, sapphires and emeralds up for grabs, maybe even golds. Make sure you send your work. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. And we look forward to seeing the pieces you submit.